This is the Barbecue Central Radio Show, which is recorded live each Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Barbecue Central Radio Show is being brought to you by The Barbecue Guru, the original creators of automatic temperature control devices, now offering 4 different models for you to choose from. Rest easy knowing that The Barbecue Guru is controlling your pit temperature so you can get on with your life. Visit bbqguru.com or call 800-288-GURU for more information. And by Fred's Music and Tasty Licks BBQ Supply, your online barbecue and grilling superstore. From cookers to grills, wood chips and chunks, and everything in between. Also be sure to try the Tasty Licks barbecue brand of rubs and sauces. Check Fred out online at tastylicksbbq.com. And by Stephen DeFranco Jewelers. Located in beautiful Willoughby, Ohio, Stephen DeFranco Jewelers is a family-owned and operated business looking to service the great folks of the barbecue and grilling world. Get free shipping and big discounts by mentioning my name and the term Barbecue Brother. Check out their inventory by visiting StephenDeFranco.com. And by Butcher Barbecue, with 30 years of experience in retail, wholesale, meat markets, food service, and customer service. Using that experience, everything they do and sell at Butcher's Barbecue comes from real-world knowledge. Check out their award-winning spices, sauces, marinades, and injections by visiting ButcherBBQ.com. Always trust your butcher. And by Green Mountain Grills. Discover something you'll really, really love. Grilling with pellets. Green Mountain pellet grills are the top of the line, best of the best, but not the highest in price. And be sure to check out all of their flavor rubs, sauces, and pellets for the Green Mountain Grill, all on their website. Visit greenmountaingrills.com to peruse the entire products portfolio. And by Barbecuer's Delight Wood Pellets. 2/3 oak, 1/3 flavor wood, giving you that perfect combination of BTU burn and sweet, succulent smoke you're looking to get all over your meat. A wide variety of flavors, so please go to the website to check it out and get yours today. Barbecuer's Delight, which is bbqrsdelight.com.
Hi, this is Scott Greenya from Fairfax, Vermont, also known as Scotty DeQ, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
In a disease-infested Barbecue Central compound, I welcome you to the really big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling, broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. Rapidly becoming known as the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on a Tuesday. 2 ways to get in touch with me if you want to do it. 877-448-0433. You can also email the show if you want to. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Those are the 2 ways to get in touch with me should you see fit. Everything else can be found at the BarbecueCentralShow.com main page, main whatever website. What can I tell you? Couple things different here right off the bat. Obviously, still audio, but we do have a chat room available. It's not going to be over at OutdoorCookingChannel.com. I did try with fervent efforts to make sure that you were not going to be going over there until we get the the video thing addressed, because that's typically where that chat room is for the people that are taking in the show live. But I did create one about an hour or so ago. Go to the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com/chat room, or just go to the main page of the website, look up towards the top right, and you will see a link up there in the menu that says chat room. Click on that. Just do a quick sign in with whatever kind of name you want to do, and take advantage of the chat room like normal. What can I tell you? Right now we got 2 people in. Yeah, rooftop and Barbecue food for you. All right, guys. Here's what's happening on the show tonight, in case you didn't get the newsletter, which you can find at the website as well. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, Mike McLeod, President and CEO of MMA Creative. They are the branding/marketing partner of Kansas City Barbecue Society. Also, the creators of the World Food Championships. And I don't know if there's like another company in there or if it's all under the same umbrella, if you will. But Tribe, T-R-Y-B-E, Tribe Marketing, I believe, is also a part of that, which I think is, again, under the same umbrella of MMA Creative. So we'll be talking to Mike about what's new with him and what MMA is looking to do with KCBS. Obviously, the Sam's Club for 2013 has geared back up. 4 events now taking place. And the World Food Championships. So looking forward to that. 35 past the hour. We're going to have to dump the babes of barbecue.
Get that big stuff out of here.
And that'll be an open segment. So if you've always wanted to jump in on the show, go ahead and feel free to call in or send an email. Give me a review on whatever you want to do. I got some things to talk about as well. So that'll be open segment at 9:35. Then we'll go into the second hour, 14 past the hour of 10 o'clock. Rick Kelly from Portacool will be joining us. This is an interview I've been chasing for quite a while. Rick is going to be telling us about the Portacool unit. How many people know what Portacool is? I'm guessing probably not a lot. Well, if you live in a really hot region of the country, like not popular, but climactically hot, if you live in a really hot region of the country, you might know what a Portacool unit is, or maybe you work in an industrial setting, because I think that's how they started, but we'll get all that information from Rick Kelly coming up at 10:14. But this is a way for you to beat the heat, whether you're a competition trail person, whether you are a backyard warrior like me. And look, it's not going to get any, it's not going to not get hotter as time passes on at this portion of the year. It's only going to get more warm and hotter, and however you want to classify it. So I think you're going to find it very intriguing, very interesting for the 10:14 segment. Rick Kelly from Portacool, Director of Retail Sales for that company. Portacool.com if you want to check it out before we have him on in about an hour. 35 past 10, coming out of the Bully, monthly guest, sauce and rub review expert Scott Roberts joining us. 3 new things to talk about, to review, and ultimately say, hey, you want to spend your money on this, or you don't want to spend your money on that. Typically, if it's good, that's great. I want to hear about it. But if it's bad, I want to know about that more. I want to know about the bad stuff. All right, so right now, you're listening to the show. Again, we're audio only, so if you could get on the Facebook, if you could get on the Twitter, and tweet out that you are listening to the show right now, obviously send them to the website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And then up at the top right, it says listen to the show live. It gives you a couple different player options. You can also find it on TuneInRadio.com. You can find it on your smartphone with TuneIn Radio app. That is a free app. Shoutcast, number of different ways to get it. So go ahead and make that post right now, and let's drive some people over here so they can join in the barbecue and grilling fun. Also, and I'm guessing next week we'll have this whole show back up and running again with video and all that stuff. You can always catch the show on Roku as well. If you have a Best Buy or really any type of electronic store, it should be able to carry a Roku player. I'm seeing Roku 3 now coming out in a lot of internet ads. Or you can just go right to Roku.com, R-O-K-U, Roku.com. It's a fun way to consume the show. You find it by searching out the Outdoor Cooking Channel app, and then there'll be a fairly decent archive of the Barbecue Central show, along with some other shows that are out there as well. Again, hoping to have the video, the whole show back up and running in 1 week's time. There will be barbecue on television this Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. At 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Destination America. Aside from a Barbecue Pitmasters marathon that will be running all day on that channel as well, the Kingsford Invitational will debut. And then it replays a number of times after that initial airing. I attended this event live. It took place last September, so it will actually be very interesting for me to see how they put it together, considering I saw everything happening live as it was going on. And I'm holding out fervent belief that I will somehow make it on the show Sunday. Although I have no reason to believe that I'll actually be on it. Perhaps in the background, look for me. I'll have the red backwards Kingsford cap on, a baseball cap, and then I'll have the very powdery blue Ponderosa barbecue T-shirt on. So look for me perhaps just cascading in the background. And for those who don't know the concept of the Kingsford Invitational, Kingsford invited the winners of the Sam's Club Invitational, or the Sam's Club Series, the American Royal Open, the Jack Daniels, the Great Lenexa Barbecue Battle, Memphis in May, and the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Barbecue Cook-Off. Stuck them in the literal middle of nowhere and had them compete against each other for the chance at a $50,000 winner-take-all cash prize. And saying that they won the grand champion at the first time event. But who gives a crap about that? This is a huge payday. Trust me, every team wanted that money, every one of them. There was also this one-bite challenge that took place the night before. The winner got an extra point carried over from that contest to the next day's overall scoring. And I think they also got like $5,000. It was a lot of money for winning that one bite challenge. I want to say it was like $5,000 or something like that for winning that portion of the contest as well. So lots of money being thrown around at that Kingsford Invitational event for sure last November. So to see it come to actual fruition in the TV side of things, because obviously we saw that happening as well. Very interested to see that. Again, this will be March 17th, Sunday, this coming Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Destination America. If you get that station, and I know some cable providers don't offer it, or you have to upgrade your current package to get that channel, especially if you're AT&T Uverse. If you have the U200, you don't get Destination America. You have to have the U300 in order to see it at the minimum. And I wouldn't recommend you upgrading your cable service, like if you have U200, to go to U300 to get it, unless you just can't live without barbecue on television. Then, go for it. What can I tell you? All right, giveaways tonight, folks. Huge giveaways tonight. A $10 gift card from the BBQSuperstore.com, the BBQSuperstore.com. That's pretty much the standard standby giveaway, which we appreciate from Richard Parker. Lance Moore of WestTexasPitmasters.com is giving away a 2-pound bag of their Pitmasters rib rub. Are you freaking kidding me? 2-pound bag, yeah. The current KCBS Team of the Year, Dan Hickson from Three Eyes Barbecue, giving away 1 shaker and 1 pound of Three Eyes Championship Award-winning rub. Boom. And, ladies and gentlemen, are you kidding me? ThermaWorks is giving away a ThermaPen and a silicone boot, thanks to Jesse Black for putting this one together. He'll actually be on the show sometime in May, I believe, to talk about 3 or 4 new products that ThermaWorks is ready to hit the market with, and it's going to be awesome. $90 prize for free tonight. Whew. Huge giveaways. Get those fat fingers ready, Centralites, because there's a lot of stuff to give away, and I'm just the guy to do it. Hey, just mentioned, this coming weekend, I'm going to be heading to Miami, Oklahoma to MC the first annual Smokin' at the Run barbecue contest being held at the world-famous Buffalo Run Hotel and Casino. 55 teams will be vying for the opportunity to not only win their share of a guaranteed $7,500 payout, but being able to say they were the very first grand champion at this event. You're going to want to get out to this event. Say hi to all the teams that will be on hand. A lot of big names are confirmed. And I can say with 100% assurity that if you're going to be on hand for the Cook's Dinner Friday night, which I think is going to be around 6:30 or so, I'm going to attempt a live house show of the Barbecue Central show at that venue, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Confirmed guests for the house show that night: Dave Bosca from Butcher's Barbecue, Fast Eddie Morin, Candy Weaver, KCBS president and part owner of Barbecuers Delight, or partner owner of Barbecuers Delight. I'm out to a few other folks as well. Could be awesome. Could be one of the worst things ever. Don't you want to be in attendance to see how this is going to shake out? I know you do. More good news about this event. It was just included in the first annual Tornado Alley Pitmasters Championship Challenge Series. The top 5 teams will split a $3,000 purse. You can find out more about this series by visiting this website, arccitybbq.net. That's ARC, City, arccitybbq.net. And again, the Smokin' at the Run is included with other contests that are part of this first annual Tornado Alley's Pitmasters Championship Challenge Series. So again, this weekend, Miami, Oklahoma, first annual Smokin' at the Run barbecue contest, number 1. Number 2, a live Barbecue Central show Friday night. Probably going off around 6:30 or so. And then the big contest on Saturday. It's going to be a great time. I would love to see you out there if you're going to be in the area. And don't forget the world-class accommodations, a great hotel, and, of course, the casino. I'll probably be on property around 2 p.m. or so Friday afternoon. If you see me, flag me down. Looking forward to getting out there, spending a lot of time with some teams, getting to meet and greet everybody. It's going to be awesome. Love to see you out there as well. Again, that's this coming weekend, March 15th and 16th, Miami, Oklahoma. Smoking at the Run at the world-famous Buffalo Run Hotel and Casino. All right, we're coming back with Mike McLeod. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Don't forget you can join in the chat room by going to the website thebbqcentralshow.com/chat room. My first guest tonight is the president and CEO of MMA Creative, the marketing partner for KCBS. Also, the brains behind the World Food Championship, which debuted last year to rave reviews. Let's go ahead and race over to the hotline. Welcome back, friend of the show, Mike McLeod. Mike, how are you, buddy?
Greg, I am great. One of these days, I am going to hire Bozo the Clown to answer the phone, since you always do this so perfectly, and you always expect that it's going to be me on the other end of the line. I am amazed at your talent.
Mike, who else could it be if I'm calling your phone?
Well, you never know. I could leave my phone at a restaurant or somewhere.
Yeah, well, I live my life with the phrase blind faith. So, if there's ever Bozo on the other line, then we got some things to talk about later.
You're a very trusting individual. That's very admirable.
Well, good.
How are you? I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well. Where are we finding you tonight, Mike? Anywhere jet setting?
No, actually, you're finding me in Nashville, Tennessee, home of Music City, and where we base our operations. So a rare moment for me to be in my home state, but I'm enjoying it.
All right, so Mike, a couple different things that we can talk about tonight. First and foremost, we just got done with the 4th local qualifier for the Sam's Club Tour, which has been going on for a couple of years now, and every year it seems to be growing in popularity. This year seems to be no different right off the bat. Was there anything new that was instituted this year, anything that teams can be looking out for or taking advantage of while they're competing in these local events? And how are you seeing this grow from when you had started it all the way back when till where we're at present day 2013?
I think there are two things that are probably significant, and they're not as visible as normal evolutions of a program. But number one is I had a team member, a good friend of mine, explained to me how he believed representation from all regions in the judging arena was important. So we implemented that this year. And then the second thing is how we improved the registration process. We wanted to make sure that the bandwidth and that our programming allowed people to get into the system easier, faster, hopefully get the choices that they expected. And if not, we gave them an out clause or a temporary registration clause that gave them a second option very quickly. So this year we really focused on operational and improvement in efficiencies on the inside. Now there's a third thing I guess I should mention, which is another thing that's not as visible to our industry, but it's very important. Sam's Club, it really expanded the season this year in a way that you wouldn't recognize. They didn't increase the number of events. They didn't increase the prize purse. They left it the same, $500,000, 25 competitions, 5 regionals, 1 national, so all that is still the same. But what they did this year that was very impressive was they expanded the promotion into a region. Every Sam's Club in a particular region now, so if you're in Biloxi or if you're in Mobile, Alabama, there might be 4, 5, 6 Sam's Clubs down there. Every one of those Sam's Clubs are featuring barbecue recipes, barbecue ingredients, barbecue products, and barbecue signage to promote the actual event that's going on at one of the Sam's Clubs in that region. So they've expanded our visibility. They've expanded their reach into each one of the markets to support the host club that is holding the contest. And I think it's a very important development, not only for them to see how big barbecue can, what kind of impact it can have on their sales, but it's also important to their sponsors, companies like Heinz and Coca-Cola and Tyson and Kingsford, all of those brands that are supporting the tour, which we continue to see them do and are very happy for. They want more expansion, more shelf space, more penetration in each one of the clubs. So Sam's agreed to do that this year, and it's important for the industry.
Mike, have you gotten any feedback from the 4 local events that have taken place that, like, foot traffic has increased over past years?
We've seen very consistent foot traffic, and that's partly due to some of the marketing muscle behind the program getting a little bit later start than what we expected. But we're still trying to break through the concept that people have to be a member of Sam's Club to actually come out and enjoy the barbecue contest. That's one of the things that has been a learning point since day one, and Sam's marketing and KCBS marketing, we're all trying to solve that equation so that people will come out and feel more like it's a free to the public opportunity. You don't have to be a member. So they started a member for a day program, which they're implementing now, and I think that's going to, in the subsequent contest, be it local, regional, I think we're going to see more foot traffic occur. And we've happened to run right into some bad weather. You know, we started in the south, as you would expect, and are moving along the southwestern quadrant of the United States. We're just seeing some ugly opportunities on weekends right now, so it's kind of squelching a little bit of the traffic that we expected.
Mike McLeod joining us here on the show, president and CEO of MMA Creative. MMAcreative.com is the website if you want to check it out. Mike, let me ask you this question. I don't know how much insight you have or don't have on this, but there was some talk that the northeast region of the country felt like it was the bastard child or the redhead stepchild of Sam's Club Series yet again. No real contest to speak of. I guess the bigger question is, what's the process that Sam goes through to either suggest or say we want to have contests in this portion of the country, in that portion of the country, but not in this portion of the country or that portion of the country?
It's a great question. There are about 3 layers of answers to that question. I'll try to be brief. Number one, it comes down to big clubs that they have. They're trying to move the needle on sales. So they have some zones that are very important to them. Number 2, we try to make sure that logistically we can get from point A to point B. And then number 3, we're trying to make sure we don't compete with great competitions that occur in those regions at a particular time, so we don't cannibalize existing contest organizers and their ability to put on a great KCBS event. So if you think about it right now, we could throw something in Boston. It'd be fantastic, right? There's no other great competition going on in Boston. However, weather would be ferocious or terrible. So we have a lot of challenges in that respect. And I think when the contest network, if it continues to expand, the next expansion will be from 30 to 50, 30 to 60, 30 to 100. When we start reaching that kind of scope and scale, I think that's when you'll see very good representation everywhere. I don't know yet how KCBS is going to handle it from a density standpoint, from a fairness standpoint, from a competitive standpoint with other contests, but it is it's something that that we'll have to face.
Do you foresee potentially, I'm asking you to be hypothetical just for a second, but do you foresee...
I'm always hypothetical, so don't worry about that.
Hey, no doubt. Do you foresee a time where there could be, 100 or 200 different Sam's Club locations that are doing events, and does that potentially spawn just an individual Sam's Club series or a Sam's Club competition ring that people would be competing in separately from the way KCBS is helping out right now?
Yes and no. That's my optimistic contrarian coming out. I can see us going to 100 competitions, but if you think about it, there's 52 weekends in a year. So all of a sudden you start duplicating your scalability in a way that requires 2 complete operations. And it gets really challenging at that point to do it just from a logistical standpoint. Mm-hmm. I think what you'll see before we get to 100 competitions, I think you'll see 30, 40, 50 competitions, but you'll see barbecue activation at another 50, 100 clubs. So we'll be able to engage barbecue teams to do sampling and do championship barbecue sampling for customers to teach them what championship barbecue is all about, while there's 40 or 50 competitions going on somewhere else. I would love to see one day, and Sam's Club loves this idea. It's just a financial challenge. It is a more than $1 million idea. I'd love to see a national barbecue day exist. We know that May is barbecue month, but we don't have a day. We don't have a day that exists. And at one point, before my run is over, before the Sam's Club program is over, and hopefully it never is, but at some point in the near future or not so distant future, I would love to see 800, 1,000 Sam's Clubs across America serving up championship barbecue on the same day. To kick off the tour or to end the tour or to be a part of the celebration of July 4th or Labor Day, whatever it is, I think that's probably the kind of growth we'll see first.
Wow, that would be a huge undertaking and a great thing if that were actually able to come off. We're talking with Mike McLeod from MMA Creative, the president and CEO of that company. Mike, real quick, we'll transition out of Sam's here just for a second, unless there's something else that I haven't hit or that you want to make sure that you're touching on here.
Are we coming back for another segment, or is you've got just a couple minutes left?
No, we got like 8 or 9 minutes left, but I got a couple other subjects that I want to hit on with you before.
Keep rolling. I'll go wherever you want to go.
All right. Obviously, most notably or well-known initially, MMA Creative teaming up with KCBS. So you're continuing on with that partnership. What do you have planned, or what do you have in the works for this year, and how is the relationship going with KCBS right now?
I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you, Greg.
All right.
Just kidding. No. We actually have one of the most ambitious objectives yet that we're about to, if tomorrow night goes well, I've got a board meeting tomorrow night to attend and a presentation to make. If that goes well, and probably about 30 days down the road, if we'll have another meeting about it, we're going to launch an extremely ambitious goal for KCBS that I think is going to excite not only the barbecue industry, but grillers across America. So I can't speak to it yet. It's still in development, and it's still under consideration at the board level. But getting to your former question, I think our relationship with KCBS board has never been better. There's a great group of individuals that are serving in that capacity. We had a fantastic retreat back in February, I think it was, in Kansas City, and we came out with 3 or 4 big ideas to challenge not only ourselves but to challenge the industry. So it's really good. I'm excited. I think the next 2 or 3, 4 years are going to be, we'll see another sonic boom, as I refer to it, in the barbecue arena.
If I can ask you a little bit of a retrospective question, from the time that you started, and I know when you made that initial bid, it was kind of maybe a little bit more outside the box than what other marketing companies were submitting to KCBS, you were kind of loading more risk on your end initially and then hoping to kind of reverse that. As things have worn out, did you ever think when you were putting that initial bid together, obviously you were hopeful, you're a businessman, did you ever think it was going to be this good of a relationship, or that you would still be helping them partner and brand everything?
No, I had no idea how big it was going to get or how significant it would be for our company. I will share with you that I just looked at numbers from 2012, and 85 or 86% of our business now is food related. It's not all barbecue. We've gotten into a few other categories and arenas, but it totally transformed in just 6 or 7 years. It totally transformed our company, and it's we're very fortunate that we had a great group of people feeding that fire. We had a great timing, and we had a great partner in KCBS. So I'm humbled by it and excited about it.
Mike McLeod joining us here on the show. Mike, this little thing called the World Food Championship showed up towards the end of last year, in really one of the busier months of the biggest contests that take place during the course of a calendar year. And it was a first-time event. It was really, I guess for lack of a better term, opening up floodgates and not only encompassing or allowing the really best of the best on the barbecue side of things, but regular home cooks and trained chefs and people making recipes. And it was like a whole cavalcade of people being able to come in on a culinary side of things, not just barbecue, to kind of lay down and see who's going to be the best of the best. How has that grown into this year? I know at the end of last year when we had kind of recapped how you thought the event went, one of my follow-up questions was, well, do you see the event in Las Vegas being the culmination of other things happening earlier in the year? Where's the World Food Championship sit right now?
Craig, the World Food Championship will be probably the biggest thing I've ever done, or the biggest contribution I've ever made to the sport of food. We are sitting on so many exciting announcements and opportunities and brands who are wanting to enter into the World Food Championship that it's intimidating, exhausting, and exhilarating at the same time. So it was a game changer. Thankfully we were able to survive it. It almost killed 20 of my best people. But it was necessary to give birth, and it's like a child. When it first comes out, it's ugly and it's messy and it's crazy. So we gave birth to that thing, and it's going to grow up. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful baby, and it's going to be a beautiful child. And we're just tickled to death. I would encourage you to wait. Give us 30 to 60 days to wrap up some announcements that we're working on and some partnerships that we're working with, and you'll see why we're really excited about it right now.
All right, we'll wait for. Maybe we can have you back on in 60 days when you're ready to unveil. How about that?
Actually, I will tell you this. Tomorrow we're announcing when the actual event is for 2013. I'll give you a little bit of scoop, at least for 12 hours. How's that?
Yes.
It is going to be October 31st. We're kicking off on Halloween. I don't know why we're that crazy. But the Goblins got to us. We're going to kick off on October 31st, and it's going to have a finale on November 3rd in front of Caesar's Palace again, although I'm not officially supposed to say that. Might want to, is it have a time delay on it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I just hit the dump button. We're fine.
Okay, great. We're returning to the heartbeat of the Las Vegas Boulevard, and October 31st to November 3rd, we're going to create the Super Bowl of food again, and this year it's going to have some tweaks that I think the barbecue teams are going to love. We're going to have some new categories. We're going to have some new challenges, and we're going to have a lot of new partners. So it's very exciting.
Mike McLeod is the president and CEO of MMA Creative. You can find their website, MMAcreative.com. Mike, always appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on tonight, and let's hook up again about 30, 60 days and do some unveiling.
Sounds great. I appreciate it, Greg, every time.
All right, Mike, take care. There he is. Mike McLeod, MMA Creative. The Prez. Got to turn my internet off there real quick. So there you have it, a little bit of a scoop. Finally, hit the drum roll. October 31st is when it kicks off. It ends November 3rd. World Food Championships. Same place as last time, right there in front of, I believe you said Caesar's Palace. I know that there were a lot of behind-the-scenes struggles and issues that maybe nobody even knew about that was competing there. But look, when you're running the event and making sure that everything is coming off on the time schedule that I can't even imagine what kind of a time schedule that's got to be on. Oh, talk about headaches. Forget about it. Big sponsors, big money. The Super Bowl of food, as Mike just said. So look forward to that. That's going to be end of October, literally October 31st, and then into the first part of November, culminating November 3rd. Thanks again to Mike McLeod, MMA Creative. So I was thinking the other day, weekend's coming up, going to be in Miami, Oklahoma. What's the way that these guys in the competition scene that are going to be down there vying for that first-time Grand Championship, what's the way they can step up their barbecue and grilling game? Then the thought came right to my head. Here's the answer. It's Dave Botska, Butcher Barbecue. That's right. There's just no easier way to step up and add that extra oomph, kick it up to the next level with Butcher Barbecue. No need for validation anymore, folks. Products are being used by teams across varying sanctioning bodies, the KCBS, the FBA, the IBCA, the FLOUQA, Mars Barbecue, shipping internationally and universally. Look, we all know Butcher's is well known for the injections. I'm going to see a lot of people using those this weekend. The pork injection, the beef injection, now that prime injection, which has combined all the things loved with their beef injection using its award-winning flavor enhancer and its ability to keep your brisket juicy. They've combined it with what has become the competition standard in beef flavor. Available for sale right now at butcherbbq.com. That's butcherbbq.com. Of course, all of the go-to rubs and sauces. One of my favorites is, of course, that steak and brisket rub. I also love the honey rub. That's especially great on pork. They have that grill product, so if you don't have the opportunity to get outside but you want that grill taste, you can use it as both an injection as a marinade. If we're talking about sauce, we're talking about Butcher Barbecue Sweet Barbecue Sauce. We know that I'm a bitch when it comes to liking sauces that are made that aren't my own. Dave's wins in every category for me. No liquid smoke, good tang, good back-end heat, no liquid smoke. All things that I love about a barbecue sauce. Get 6 because they're going to go fast. That's all I got to say. And don't forget, if you have a bad injection from somebody else commercially made, you can send it back to Dave. Go to butcherbbq.com, click on the trade-in program, read through it, wrap it up, print off a label, send it over to Dave. He'll weigh it, and then he'll return you the prime, the beef, or the pork injection in return. That way you're not wasting any money. Of course, that new product called Bird Booster. We're going to talk about that next read next week. Dave, we'll have to do a write-up on that. Head on over to butcherbbq.com. That's butcherbbq.com. We'll come right back with an open segment. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Now's the time where we give stuff away. People give us stuff on the show to give away at no money for you. That's why it's free. Send an email on its way when I tell you to. That's why we give stuff away.
Every time I hear that song, I want to blow my ears off. All right, your chance to win a $10 gift card from thebbqsuperstore.com from Richard Parker and the Great folks over there. All you have to do is send me an email, and in the subject line, World Food Championships -wow. World Food Championships -wow. For your chance to win a $10 gift card from thebbqsuperstore.com. Good luck.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Who would have thought this music thing was going to go this far? I never asked for this. I never asked for this fast living, the women, the whiskey, craziness. There's whiskey in my soul. Hey, Bert, let's go.
I've been drifting down that open highway, finger in the air, 'cause I do things my way.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Email Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Thanks again to Mike McLeod for joining me. Email coming in from John Dawson. We have not one, but 3 National Barbecue Days: Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day. All right. Take that, right? I believe Mike was referring to actually saying that there is a National Barbecue Day, or National Grilling Day, if you will. Does that make sense? I don't know. I can tell you what makes sense to me. We do have a winner. World Food Champion. World Food Championships. Wow. David Garza wins. All the rest of you are losers. So, Dave, I do have your email address, obviously, because you sent an email to me. So no need to send any shipping info. I'll just get your email over to Richard Parker and the good folks over at thebbqsuperstore.com, and they will tell you how to go about redeeming that. Coming up after this segment, your chance to win the $90 Thermapen. That's right. Got to figure out what we're going to be doing about that. I don't know if that should be an email. You might have to actually call in for that one. All right, so let me address this. I got an email from a loyal listener of the show. I want to share it with you. And then I want to give you a take, because maybe some of you are under the same type of idea here or have the same type of opinion. Look, unabashed, me, have had some technical issues on the video side of things over the last couple weeks. I can't make excuses for that. This is just what happens. But I've been trying to get some type of a live show on for you guys. So he writes it. I've been meaning to write this to you for a long, long time. Long before the current video problems, I think you should consider giving up doing the show live. I think that your show is the best of its type, but I think it would be much better if you weren't beset by technical issues, which happen just about every week. How often do you have to call someone back in the middle of the show because there's feedback on the line or some other technical issue? Does a show ever go by where that doesn't happen? I think that Sam, and he is talking about Sam Zion, who was on last week. You would recall that we talked about how he went from a completely live web show to now pre-recorded. I think that Sam made a really convincing argument last week, and you really echoed it yourself when you admitted that 150 to 200 people listen to the show live, and I'm a faithful one of them. But thousands download the podcast each week. Couldn't you keep the chat room going while the show was originally broadcast and still have it be taped? And if not, how loyal do you have to be to those dozen or so chat room regulars? And if you lost those dozen, maybe 2, but picked up others because the show came off as more polished, would you be any worse off? I know you're a Gary Vaynerchuk fan, dare I say disciple. And I would point out that Gary never did WLTV live. That's correct. I know that you take special care of your most loyal fans, but I think you might give this a try maybe once you've gotten the video fixed. Have a great time in Oklahoma, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let me address that. And here's what I would like. First of all, I do want to thank the person that wrote that in. Rule of the show, folks. Remember, rule of the show? No names, please. Here's what I have to say about that. I absolutely understand where this guy is coming from. I think, however, a couple different things. If you go back and listen to the body of work, because let's be honest, when something bad happens once or twice in a row, you kind of think that it happens all the time. But I think if we're being honest with each other, if you go back and listen to the body of work of the show, that there isn't technical issues all the time. Maybe, even if it's once in a 2-hour time frame for like 2 minutes, is it that big of a deal? I don't think so. But there's been way more shows where there hasn't been any technical issues than there have been shows with technical issues. And typically the technical issues, and again, we're holding off the last 2-3 weeks because those have been obviously fairly substantial. But for me to call somebody back on Skype because their internet connection isn't fast enough or whatever, that's not going to make a pre-recorded show sound any better because they don't have a quicker internet service provider. Let me boil it down. Why don't I do the show pre-recorded? Well, I did a long time ago. It was a pre-recorded show. It was an hour and a half of just raw audio, me interviewing somebody, and then I cut out the best 20 minutes, and it was perfect and it was polished. If you know me, you know I'm not somebody that likes to toe the line of doing what a lot of other people do. And let's be honest, there are hundreds, if not thousands, tens of thousands of pre-produced audio and video podcasts. Everybody does it.
Get that big stuff out of here.
I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. The reason that I started this show, the reason that I went away from the pre-produced audio podcast in the first place, and that was like 6 years ago. The very first Brisket Roundtable was recorded in February of 2007, if you can believe it. The reason that I do the show live, do I love the live listeners the most? Yes. Do I love the podcast listeners? Like, is it 1A, 1B? Of course. I mean, without either a live or a download audience, what is the purpose for me to do the show? But first and foremost, the reason that I continually do the live show is A, because it's different than from what 99% of the people are doing. B, it sounds way better than any other live barbecue show on, TV or internet radio or whatever. Regardless of technical issues, nothing sounds better or more well-produced or more well-engineered or better questions asked than this show. This is the top dog. But really, kind of most importantly, I like doing the live show. I do. Am I agreeing with the fact that, if we're on a sliding scale, 1% of the people that consume the show do it Tuesdays live from 9 to 11? I am not questioning that whatsoever. I'm not. I can't question that because at the end of the month, when I look at the download numbers from iTunes and I see 50,000 people decide to consume the show at their convenience, there's no arguing those numbers, right? There's not the majority, 99% of the people enjoy this show on demand at their convenience, however you want to term it. I download it. I go on the plane, or I know people that listen to this show. I know people that listen to the show on the way to work because they have a 2-hour train ride in and a 2-hour train ride home, and this gets them through their show. Look, if you're listening to the show podcast, you don't care if it's live or not. I mean, it could be recorded live, and you're listening to it replayed all the time, and it doesn't even matter. But for the people that like to tune in every Tuesday night, this is, I like to do a live show for them, but I like to do the live show. I want to know how I'm going to react if something goes bad, or if I need to fill a segment because something happens. What am I going to do? I don't want it to be perfect. I don't want to be able to edit somebody's uhs and ahs out. I don't want to have to edit how I sound. I want to either sound good or I want to sound bad, and then I want to listen to it and go, well, that show I sounded good or that show I sounded bad. First and foremost, I do the live show because I like doing the live show. Here's the thing. I don't think that I could be able to go back to a pre-produced show because I like doing the live show, because I do like getting some of that instant feedback from the folks in the chat room or the calls in or whatever. I don't think I could ever go back to doing a pre-recorded show. Having this 2-hour block allows me to spend time during the week getting guests together. It allows me to also keep the show very timely. I follow what's happening during the weekends. You know, I book the regular guests that I have every month or every other month, but then I'm following Google alerts, breaking news here, or what's happening on the competition trail, and I'm able to build my show over the course starting tomorrow, Wednesday, all the way through until next Tuesday. It helps keep the show timely. If I started doing a pre-recorded show, the timeliness of the show would fall off unequivocally because I wouldn't have to worry about what's hot. Because I wouldn't be in a setting that allows me to do what's hot. It would be just getting something up once a week or once every other week. And I don't want to do that either. I want to keep the show fresh. I want to be on the cutting edge. And I want to do it, as they say, do it live. Do it live. Plus the people that are in the chat room. Look, if you've never joined the chat room, if you're a podcast listener only, this is what I recommend. Once we get the video back up and running, make a concerted effort to take in one live show. I'm talking to just the podcast people now. Make one effort to take in one live show and just look at the chat room. These people are kooks.
Get that free stuff out of here.
It's like, I always refer to it as the show within the show. I've learned many different times on many different occasions to not start reading the chat because all of a sudden you're lost in a story that could perhaps be a lot more interesting than the guest that's on, and they stop talking and I'm lost in a story and they're waiting for the next question and I got nothing. Because I'm reading the chat room.
Free stuff out of here.
Look, it's very enthralling. If you've never got the show live, do it. And look, like everything in life, live is better. Live is right now. Who knows what's going to happen next? I understand that if you're listening to the show podcast, you don't know what I'm going to say next, but it's taped. You missed it. It's after the fact. And the majority of people don't care. And you know what? I don't care right along with them. That's great. I love the fact that they just listened to it in the first place. But to hear the show live, I like that. And again, first and foremost, I like doing the show live, so it'll stay. The chat room will stay. Kevin Bevington and I, as much as he probably hates my guts over the past couple weeks because of the video side of things, we could potentially be streaming on live on Roku live, like live video on Roku, maybe as early as next week potentially. Look, we will continue to push the boundaries of this show farther and farther out of comfort zones and getting farther away from what people are doing by the masses. Again, thousands, tens of thousands of shows, doing it pre-recorded, making it all nice and perfect. And I've never been the guy that sits here that says, and then poo-poos on, what other people are doing. I really just like to focus on me, keep my head down, keep moving, and let everybody else follow up as they may. But this show is live. Because I want to know what's going to happen next. Because you want to know what's going to happen next. Right? Look, here's Blake Moody saying, if it's any help, I really got the show when I watched live. I had listened to the podcast before, but when I finally saw the show live, I totally got it. Yeah. You can't see my face, right? You got to know. Basic Patrick weighing in, Greg, the chat room is a community unto itself. We are getting to know each other in the chat room. We are a community. Please don't change it. Patrick, rest assured, my friend, this show is not going pre-recorded. No, stop. Again, I understand. I understand that the overwhelming majority of the people just get it on demand. Hey, man, I dig it, and I understand it. And I'm not just catering to, 15 or 20 or 200 people or whatever. Perhaps it seems like that. I cater to me first because I'm the host. I do the work on the show. I produce the show, and I want to make sure that it's a show that I enjoy doing first and foremost. This is the way I like to do it. Hey, 10 years from now, if I get old, I'll be older. Maybe it'll be different. Maybe I'll want to do a pre-recorded show at that time. And I'll do it because that's what I want to do. I started the show initially because that's what I wanted to do, pre-recorded. I changed live because that's what I want to do. So who knows where we're going to be. And I can tell you right now, unequivocally, at least for the foreseeable future, we're going to keep it live, ladies and gentlemen. So, just wanted to get that out of the way. Don't forget, coming up straight away out of the break, your chance to win a Thermapen. But in case you were wondering, why do you do the show live? And I want to thank the emailer for sparking that not rant, but just an explanation. We're all good now. Not that we weren't all good before. All right, folks, I have a Grilla pellet cooker on my back deck. First thing I thought of was Barbecuers Delight wood pellets when I needed a fuel source. Why? Widely considered to be the pellet resource for pellet-fired cookers. That's right. Whether on the competition trail or in your backyard, folks choose Barbecuers Delight wood pellets more than any other brand for their superior quality and flavor. And you should give them a try as well. You can find them at bbqrsdelight.com. Now, since pellets have been processed from sawdust by pressure, which generates heat, any contaminants present in the wood are eliminated. This process produces a sterile smoking wood product of consistent quality. Pellets easy to use since you don't have to soak them in water prior to use. Easy to blend wood flavors to produce consistent results as well. That's why you should go to Barbecuers Delight wood pellets and get yours. So do yourself a favor, head on over there. Barbecuers Delight, bbqrsdelight.com. Check out all the flavors that they have. It's not just the regular hardwood standbys. Many other flavors as well, like sassafras, savory herb. Savory herb is really good when you're smoking a meatloaf. Never smoked a meatloaf? You're doing yourself and your family a disservice. Smoke a meatloaf for crying out loud. Wilbur's Revenge. You're funny. Barbecuers Delight is the choice of the competition cook and the backyard hack just like me. Don't forget that. All right, we're coming back for your chance to win a Thermapen. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Now, the time on the show when you give stuff away. Gonna give it away for free at no cost. So get ready to send that email right now.
All right. We're not going to do the email. So with the time that I have left, first caller in gets a Thermapen. 877-448-0433. 877-448-0433. It also comes with a silicone boot. Do you like silicone boots? I love silicone boots. This is a $90 prize. It will be free for you for the first caller in. 877-448-0433. People leaving the chat room probably to find the nearest payphone to lob a phone call in so they can win a Thermapen. Thermoworks.com is the website. Thermoworks.com. All right, what am I... Okay, I was going to say, what am I missing here? All right, we go to area code 810. Name and where you're calling from.
Don Hopkins from Burton, Michigan.
Don Hopkins! Donnie! You want a free Thermapen and silicone boot, Don?
Awesome. That's great, man.
All right, so here's what you got to do, Don. Send me your shipping info. Send it to the email address, Greg at the BBQ Central Show, and in the subject line, put Thermapen winner.
Will do.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling in tonight.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Great show, Greg.
All right, thanks. There he is, Don Hopkins. Ooh, wow. Look at all these people calling in now. Sorry, you're too late. Sorry, you're too late, ladies and gentlemen. Got a winner. Phone is too far away. Barbecue food for you. Don't we know one thing, barbecue food for you? Canada is too far away. Damn! All right, Don Hopkins. Guys, stop calling. Really? No, really. Stop calling. All right.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rippey.
Big B.
All right, we are back. Congratulations to Don Hopkins on winning the free Thermapen. Good for you, buddy. Again, send that email over my way, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com, and reference Thermapen winner in the subject line. All right, let me get a couple emails. Mark Gabrick. Stay live, Greg. It's the reason I watch the show. Thank you, Mark. John Dawson, live or recorded. Do what you're doing. We dig it down to the shoes. Live on tape. This email. Never expected the email to lead to this. Hey, lead to what? We're fine. Everything's good. That one come in? Yeah. Oh, right. He was the winner of the prize. All right. We're going to step away. We're going to reload for the second hour. Don't forget Rick Kelly from Portacool coming up. And Scott Roberts closing out the show. Thanks again to Mike McLeod, MMA Creative President and CEO, talking about World Food Championships, talking about the new initiatives that he kind of couldn't talk about with KCBS, but promised that everybody is going to be very excited to learn about them. How come always a week ahead of time? And we laid out why I keep the show live for now. Live for now. Do it live. All right, let's reload, and I'll catch you back here in about a minute. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Networks.
From Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.
You know, I was happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
It's got a lot of power.
Come on, Greg. You're asking a guy whose team name is Pellet Envy. So obviously the answer you're going to get is no.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how you doing?
Charbono. It's all about the Charbono, dude. I just like being anywhere with Junior, Senior, and Diva.
Sounds like a whole other type of movie.
Wow. Yeah, really.
You could use it to fight off creeping marauders looking to take your steaks off your grills.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
How hot is Kelly Ripa in person?
Kelly Ripa is super hot. She's absolutely delicious.
Oh, yeah.
You could butter base her and plank Twinkies with that girl. She's delish.
Well, to put it briefly, let's just say I went to school.
There's no Robert Porker who's in charge of pig meat out there.
Is it not correct to properly classify you as Harry Sue's pit bitch?
I was his pit bitch for 6 weeks. I have no shame. I was. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubricated.
Succulent fish. What?
This right here is the premier media alley.
So did you see this one? Tiger Woods has gone ahead and checked into sex rehab. Hey, Tiger, guess what? Everybody's addicted to sex.
I'm shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
All right, we're into the second hour. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Two ways to get in touch with the show should you want to do so tonight. Congratulations again to Don Hopkins for winning the coveted Thermapen. I think that's roughly $90 in prize value. Plus the silicone boot. I have no idea what that's worth. Got to be at least $700-800 for that, right? Got to be. So we'll get that sent out to you. I'm going to forward your information on to Jesse at ThermoWorks, and then he's going to send it out to you. So don't call me if it never gets to you. What? Uh-oh. All right. Still to come tonight, in about 12 minutes from now, Rick Kelly from Porticool. Next segment. Also, Scott Roberts will be reviewing some new sauces and rubs for us at 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Programming note coming up on the show next week. Chris Capel from Dizzy Pig will be joining me. He is doing, this is very interesting, he's going to be doing an all-ceramic barbecue competition cooking class. I don't know if I can say with 100% assurity that this is the first time I've ever heard of this. And some of you guys that give cooking classes, that have attended cooking classes, has anybody ever given an all-ceramic barbecue competition cooking class? Because look, if you know Chris, you know he only cooks on Big Green Egg cookers, multiple. So it would make sense that if you only cook on ceramic cookers, potentially there could be a market for all ceramic competition cooking class. Why not? He cooks on all ceramic, he cooks competition, marry those two together, boom. So we're going to be talking with Chris Capel from Dizzy Pig about the all ceramic barbecue competition cooking class that he's going to be giving. Just a few short weeks. Also, we'll talk to him about the product, the business, his plans and goals for 2013 in regards to competition. Also, Derek Riches from About.com makes his triumphant return. He is down at the HPBA Expo. Is that what they call the HPB Expo? Hearth Patio Garden Barbecue, whatever, in Orlando this year. I think last year was like in Salt Lake City or some shit. This year back in Orlando. I believe the year before last it was also in Florida. So back where it should be, in Florida. Attention manufacturers. I'll come down and be your pitchman next year. My rates are real cheap. Only 6 figures. And I only require G5 service from Cuyahoga County Airport to wherever the nearest local county airport is, wherever it's going to be. And then, of course, because I'll be going down to the Smoking at the Run competition this coming weekend, next Tuesday, the winner from the first annual Smoking at the Run barbecue contest will also join me, whether they know it or not. So look forward to that. Look, I also want to promote this as well. Coming up on March 26th, so 2 weeks' time. Does this name ring a bell? Daniel Pomerantz. Does the name Daniel Pomerantz ring a bell? Formerly of the Q Team. Joins me to talk about the, I'm doing air quotes, crank apron incident that took place last August. I believe it was last August 11th. What went down? What was the punishment? Who was involved? Was anybody leveling any type of intimidation? Names will be given out. His complete side of the story will be recounted for your review. So, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that as well. And don't forget, like I mentioned last hour, the Kingsford Invitational TV show will be on this Sunday, the 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then, of course, we'll play a number of different times after that. Big Bob Gibson's Chris Lilly is hosting the event. Not sure why someone else wasn't asked since they were down there. Hey, at least David Qualls can see my talent. DJ, what up? Keep this in mind as well for this Kingsford Invitational thing. There's a one-bite challenge thing that you can do from home. Kingsford is hosting a one-bite challenge sweepstakes for a chance to win a trip to the Memphis in May World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest in 2013 to hang out with this year's Kingsford Invitational winner. Do I need to tell you who the Kingsford Invitational winner is? Do I have to say spoiler alert? I hate saying that. The Kingsford Invitational winner is Yazoo's Delta Q. We already talked about that last year. I'm not giving up anything. Simply submit your favorite 5 ingredients and a recipe name on the website grilling.com. From March 13th to April 15th, 2013. So maybe you want to go hang out with Yazoo's Delta Q. Why not? Also, if you're going to be in the Miami, Oklahoma area this coming weekend, stop by the Buffalo Run Casino, check out the Smoking at the Run competition, which I will be hosting, by the way. Very excited to get down there and hang out with everyone and do the awards on Saturday afternoon. Plus, live house show, the Barbecue Central show, Friday night, I'm guessing around 6:30 or so. Confirmed guests again, Dave Bosca from Butcher Barbecue, Eddie Marin, Fast Eddie, and Candy Weaver, KCBS president, and one of the owners of Barbecuer's Delight Wood Pellets. Looking forward to that. This past weekend, and I mentioned it with Mike McLeod last hour, the 4th Sam's Club local qualifier went off this past weekend in Westworth Village, Texas. The 6 teams moving on to the Midwest City, Oklahoma Regional are as follows. Winning Grand Championship CNB Barbecue. And might I say, from a points perspective, a healthy ass-whooping put on the rest of the field. They went off at 677 and change. Reserve Grand 3 Woody's Barbecue. Sounds perverted. Reserve Grand took 657.1, so there was literally a 20-point gap between Reserve and Grand. Wow. Third place overall, Caveman Cuisine. They're going to be down at the... they're going to be down at the Smoking at the Run. Looking forward to seeing them. They've been on the show before. Number 4, Four Crows Barbecue. Number 5, Hoggy Style, Oklahoma. Number 6, Smoke and Ice. So discrepancy from top to 6th place, roughly, almost 30 points exactly. 677.7 took Grand, and 6th place, 647.9. So there you go. Congratulations to all those guys moving on, and really looking forward to seeing how all of the Sam's Club stuff plays out during the course of the year. Midwest City, Oklahoma. I did an interview with the Bull Sheet from KCBS, and this was probably 2 months ago now that I'm thinking about it. But I had picked the region of, was it Rockford, Illinois, that I pick? Because the Iowa team was going to be, the Iowa local was going to be in that regional. What do you think? Am I going a little too far? I don't think so. It's just my thought. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Coming up, next segment, Rick Kelly from Porticool. And then Scott Roberts helping me close out the show as well. Still to come on giveaways. Lance Moore of WestTexasPitmasters.com giving away a 2-pound bag of their Pitmasters Rib Rub. 2 pounds. 2 pounds. And Dan Hickson from Three Eyes Barbecue giving away 1 shaker and a 1-pound bag of the Three Eyes Rub. Championship award-winning rub, I might add. So look forward to that. Rick Kelly coming up next. All right, let me talk to you quickly about the longest-running sponsor of the show, the Barbecue Guru. Automatic pit temperature control technology. They were the ones that created it. Why are you going to buy another automatic pit temperature control from somebody else? I don't know. Patently ridiculous, in my estimation, but you make your own decisions. You're an adult. It's your money. I would get a Barbecue Guru. Maybe you're a busy working professional. Maybe you have a lot of kids and errands to deal with during the course of a day. You don't have the time to mess around with pit temperatures. This is where the Barbecue Guru comes in. Hook it on your cooker, set to the temperature you want, put on your meat, whether it be ribs or brisket or pork butt or whatever, and you are off to do whatever it is you need to get done during the course of the day. There's a number of different models to choose from. The most popular one, of course, that's CyberQ Wi-Fi. A lot of us have smartphone technology nowadays. A lot of us are carrying around tablets, the iPads, the Samsung devices, whatever the case may be. Maybe you have a netbook or a laptop and you have Wi-Fi ability or capability to connect into. You can monitor where your pit temperature is at. You can monitor the internal temperature of your meats. Maybe if you're cooking a little fast, you can dial down the pit temperature. You need to ramp it up a little bit. You can do the exact opposite. You can ramp up the pit temperature, and you'll be taking care of exactly what you need. Now, maybe you're in the market for a cooker. Look no further than the Onyx Oven. The Onyx Oven has been winning on the competition circuit as well as in backyards all over the country. Fully insulated cooker, holds a lot of meat, accommodates half and full pans for food service, works seamlessly, obviously, with all those Barbecue Guru pit temperature control devices. So give the Onyx Oven some consideration if you're looking into that. Here's what I recommend. Do yourself a favor. Head on over to thebarbecueguru.com. Check out their products. If you have any questions about what to order, call them directly, 800-288-GURU. They will make sure that you are outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running out of the box. 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU, or visit them on the web, thebbqguru.com. The Barbecue Guru, a breakthrough in barbecue technology. All right, we're coming back with Rick Kelly from Porticool right after this. Stick around. You are listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Networks.
Name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. All right, I hate doing this, but I got to actually dial in. This guy's at a hotel. We'll see how well this goes for me. Typically, it doesn't go very well for me. Oh, darn it. Got to hit the call phone button for it to work, right? What? Why is the call failing? All right, hold on. Call phone. Let me go back to the email here. Pull it up. Where are you? Oh, yeah. That was my fault. I think I put the wrong digit in there. That's my bad. We're calling the MGM in Vegas, by the way.
Thank you for calling MGM Grand Guest Services.
Thank you.
All of our agents are currently assisting other guests.
Oh, you're kidding.
Please remain on the line, and the next available agent will assist you.
No, this music's better.
Brighter than the
sun. Good evening. Thank you for calling the MGM Grand. This is Courtney. How may I assist you?
Hey, Courtney. This is Greg Rempe from the Barbecue Central Radio Show. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Thanks for asking. I was wondering if I could have room 21408.
Absolutely. And the name of the guest?
It's Rick Kelly.
One moment. Connecting now. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. What a delight she was. Delight. Oh, ladies.
It's Rick Kelly.
Rick, Greg Rempe calling.
Hey, Greg, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Rick, let me hold you up just for 1 second. I have this whole big introduction I'm going to do for you.
Okay.
But I had to get through the front desk, so let me do this. All right, Centralites, one of the worst things about barbecue in the summer, of course, is the heat, or maybe you just live in a hot place. Especially for you barbecue cooks who don't have the 40-foot trailer with the AC pumping I mean, what's a backyard warrior or competitor supposed to do to beat the heat? Man, do I have you covered tonight. Joining me this segment, the Director of Retail Sales for Portacool, a unique product that will help you beat the heat during the summer months. Let's go ahead and race over the hotline. Re-welcome Rick Kelly from Portacool.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
How much better was that, Rick?
That was great. That was great. Couldn't have asked anything better.
All right, so I guess before we get into the Portacool product, how about a little background on you, and are you a barbecue and grilling fan?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, my son works for a barbecue company. I won't mention the name, but we live in Dallas, and it doesn't matter if it's spring, summer, or even winter. We're out grilling.
All right, so if you could, maybe a little background on Portacool as a company. You know, is this one of those things where a company started in one industry and then saw some niches that it could fill, and how has that grown over the years?
Sure. We're based in a small town in East Texas called Center, Texas. We're about 20 years old, and we started as a company that developed actually evaporative cooler pads and also evaporative technology that essentially was used to cool chicken coops in hen houses. So our founders got the idea when they saw how these chicken houses were cooled. And I mean, it uses evaporative technology. It has, pads on one end of the building and basically a fan on the other end. And you wet the pad, and the fan pulls the cooled air through the chicken house. And so that gave them the idea that why couldn't they develop a portable evaporative cooler that you could use anywhere, outside, in a factory or warehouse. And so that's really where we got started. We started selling our units to places like dry cleaners, of all places. Any area that's just really hot and you could not economically use air conditioning, and where you could get some cooling anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees or even up to 30 degrees, depending on the climate. And so then we went on and started supplying units to the National Football League, and so now 22 of the NFL teams use our products on their sidelines. So we just evolved over the years, selling through commercial, industrial customers to supply the product to, like I said, garages, automotive garages, warehouses, factories, any of those places where you just cannot use AC economically. You can use a portable evaporative cooler to get the cooling you need.
Yeah, Rick Kelly joining us here on the show, and I guess that kind of dovetailed nicely into my next question was, and I mentioned in the open, barbecuing when it's hot out can almost be kind of oppressive and insufferable.
Right.
Even if you are having a house party or maybe you're out on the competition cooking trail, it can be kind of like a hot mess outside. Portacool is an item that can really help you live a little bit more comfortably outside in the heat instead of eating outside and then retreating back into the air conditioning and then going back outside and then coming back into the house to get cooled off again.
Well, and one of the misperceptions about evaporative cooling, you'll hear a term called swamp cooler, and we don't like to use that very often, but swamp coolers really were used for indoor purposes in the desert Southwest, and the old swamp coolers were used to cool indoor spaces, homes, offices, places like that. And so the portable evaporative coolers, where we use them, and your audience is perfect for outdoor grilling or on your deck or patio, you're outside. Evaporative coolers need good ventilation. And so when you're using them outside or in open spaces like a warehouse or a factory, you've got good ventilation, and that just really, helps the product work even more effectively.
All right, so if you could, and I know we're kind of audio painting a picture here. How does a
Sure.
Portacool unit actually work?
Well, the best way to describe it is to think about when you're swimming in a swimming pool, and you get out and your body's wet, and that gush of air blows across your body, and you feel that cool sensation.
Ugh.
That is the water, the moisture evaporating on your skin. That's exactly how an evaporative cooler works. Each cooler has a pad, which is a rigid media. Then the pump will supply water over the pad. Once that pad is wet, the fan will pull the air through the pad, and that's where the evaporation occurs, just like on your skin. And so then that basically consumes the heat from the air, and it cools it. And so then you have the cool air coming out the opposite side. And with evaporative coolers, the hotter and the drier, the better. But, so obviously in the desert Southwest, where there's no humidity and it's 110 degrees, you're going to get a 30-degree drop in temperature.
Wow.
But if you're in a market like Texas or the Southeast, where it routinely gets into the mid to high 90s, even with the humidity, you'll still have a 10 to 15-degree drop. And as you know, when you're outside grilling, that can make a world of difference.
One of the things that I want to make sure that everybody understands here is, we're talking about evaporative cooling. Everybody is, of course, used to air conditioning technology, right, which is obviously very different, refrigerants and compressors and all that stuff. Aside from the obvious, are there other differences or green benefits of using an evaporative cooler versus sticking an air conditioner outside and trying to cool it down a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. With air conditioners, we like to call it a closed-loop system. You remember your mom telling you when you were a kid, okay, don't open the windows or the doors when the air conditioning is running because you're letting all that cool air outside. Air conditioners rely on a closed-loop system so that they're constantly reconditioning the same air over and over and over. That same air that's in your house is being reconditioned has been there for a long time. Whereas, and that's very costly. To use a compressor in an air conditioner to do that is very costly. So air conditioners really cannot be used outside because they can't recapture that air that it just treated. That's why evaporative coolers are so useful outside, because they're not relying on that closed-loop system. It's more of a ventilated system where it's better to use that hot, dry air coming in and then having a good way for that to release and ventilate. And so that's why outdoor areas or large open indoor areas are perfect for evaporative coolers. And then you have the energy savings. With an evaporative cooler, because you don't have a compressor, you're using about 75 to 80% less energy than a air conditioner. Wow. So our largest unit that covers about 4,000 square feet is only drawing about 11 to 11.5 amps. So it's very economical and energy efficient.
Rick Kelly joining us here on the show. He is the Director of Retail Sales for Portacool. The website, if you want to check it out, by the way, and they do have some real nice demonstration videos, portacool.com, P-O-R-T, portacool.com, and that'll link you over there so you can check those out. Rick, do you need to be in front of these units to really get the benefit? I mean, I know there's a square footage rating. You just said that you had one that covers 4,000 square feet.
Right.
But if you're in a house, it's one thing, right? You have, like, enclosed space and all that stuff. But when you're outside, the sky seems pretty tall to me. So, how does that use the technology to cool that area that it says it's rated for?
Well, if you're using one of our smaller units and you're in a small space, I mean, we consider this to be a spot cooler. So you do want to be in a fairly close proximity to the unit so that you can feel that air. If you're in a backyard patio and you're having a party or a gathering, what we often recommend is, let's say you have 1,000 square feet. Now, we have a unit that'll cover 1,000 square feet, and it'll do just fine. But what we also recommend is maybe using two of our smaller units. We have a unit that'll cover 500 or 700 square feet, maybe using two of those and place them on opposite ends of the patio. Then you get a really good cross-ventilation, cross-circulation of that air, and I think that really gives you a much more pleasant environment for your guests.
All right, so I have some direct questions coming in from my instant chat here, and I have one coming in from a guy named Zombie Barbecue, so draw your own conclusions, Rick. He's asking, what product would you recommend for either a 10 by 10, like a square foot area, or a 20 by 10, which would be enclosed by those Easy Up style tents?
Sure. We have a product, it's our Cyclone 2000, which will cover up to 500 square feet. And then the next step up is the Cyclone 3000, which will cover about 700 square feet. I use the Cyclone the Cyclone 2000 on my patio, and it works just great. So for that type of space, that would be the one I'd recommend. The suggested retail for that Cyclone 2000 is about $540, and it only draws 2.5 amps. So it would give him substantial airflow for that space he's looking to cool.
Rick Kelly joining us here on the show from Portacool. Rick, if evaporative cooling works this well outside, has there ever been a thought of getting into trying to compete with the air conditioning market, or would this technology not translate very well inside because of the technology?
Well, I mean, like I said, in the desert Southwest, there are areas of the country where they do use evaporative coolers, and that's the old swamp coolers indoors. So the problem with evaporative coolers, especially indoors, is that you are releasing some moisture back into the air, only about 2 or 3%. But if that's when you really need to ventilate. You need to, if you're an indoor area like a house or an office, you need to, crack a window, open a door. You've got to allow that moisture to escape somehow. So years ago, evaporative coolers were just about the only thing that was used in the desert Southwest because the cost of air conditioning was so high. Since ACs, air conditioners have dropped in price, that's why now most, or I'd say many of the homes and offices out in the Southwest are using those now. So I wouldn't see, I mean, there's some things on the market that have been coming along where it might combine features of an air conditioner and features of an evaporative cooler, so you get some of those energy savings.
All right, so we talked about the price point, let's call it $550 for the Cyclone 2000. What are some of the other models that you have? And it doesn't have to be, specifically related to sizes that you think would be good for either the backyard griller or the competitor, but kind of give us the gamut of the products that you offer.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, Cyclone 2000 is the smallest unit that we offer at 500 square feet. Then we have a model called the Jetstream 1600, and that'll cover about 1,000 square feet. Retails about $1,500. The nice thing about that unit is within a unit, all of our units do have a water or a hose hookup for the water supply. So you can hook a garden hose up to the unit, and it has a float valve, so it'll shut the water on and off based on the needs. But there are a lot of times where you don't have access to a hose or water supply. And so this unit, the Jetstream 1600, actually holds 42 gallons of water.
Wow.
So when you fill it up, it's going to last for quite a while. Then the next step up from there would be our 36-inch unit that'll cover about 2,600 square feet. That's going to run you about $2,500. And then our largest one is our 4,000 square foot model that will run you about $3,400.
All right, so even for the largest model, I mean, I'm not sitting here filthy rich, but for that type of square foot of cooling, that seems to be a fairly economical price point. And from what I could gather from the website, I mean, we're not talking about 50 billion little parts and things that you're going to be doing maintenance wise. Is it safe to call it like a maintenance poor type of an item?
It is. I mean, there are two items that you really need to look at. There's the pump that, over time can go out. We actually have a new feature in our units this year that it has an auto shutoff, so that if a consumer forgets to add water or they let it run out, it's not going to damage the pump. Once that water does run out. So that's a nice feature that it's not a problem for the consumer. The pads, the rigid media pads, they're designed to last 3 to 4 years. So they're very easy to maintain. They slide right out of the unit. You can wash it with a garden hose. And like I said, they're very easy to maintain. Those are really the two components that really need to be maintained for most of our coolers.
Rick Kelly is the Director of Retail Sales for Portacool. Rick, is it the best for people to go to the website to see? I'm imagining you guys are pulling through a dealer network, or do you guys go right to the end user?
We have a dealer network. We have several websites that offer the product, like an Amazon.com or HomeDepot.com. We're sold through Napa Supply. I mean, different commercial industrial houses across the country. So the product is fairly accessible. All right.
So if you're interested, if you're looking to beat the heat, whether you're a team that, some of these guys travel 35, 36 weeks out of the year, and in the summer, and especially down in the South, as we're talking about here, Rick, this is something that could really benefit them to kind of keep that competitive edge almost.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, there have been studies, work studies that your performance does decline when you're hot, and so when you're outside, you're on that black asphalt, and it's hot already. Oof. That black asphalt just amplifies that heat. You need some relief, and the Portacool units do a great job providing that.
All right. Once again, Rick Kelly, Director of Retail Sales for Portacool. You can find the main website, portacool.com, if you want to check it out. Rick, appreciate the time tonight. Thanks for telling us so much about these products. Continued success.
All right. Thank you for having me, Greg.
Yeah, you got it. My pleasure. There he is. Rick Kelly, Portacool. Look, I think we have made it very clear. I'm not a competitor.
Get that big stuff out of here.
But, every weekend on the summer when it's nice out, I would like to have people over and have some partying going on. If it's really hot outside, what fun is that? Here's my thought. What's better than having a house party, summer, early part of fall when it's still hot out? What does everybody love to do when the lights finally go off, or when the sun goes down? Everybody wants to build that fire, right? No matter how hot it is outside, people, why not get one of these Portacool units, right? You see where I'm going. Build your fire, turn the Portacool unit on. So it's almost like you got this evaporative cooler cooling you down, but you have the ambience of the fire as well. Gentlemen, you're welcome. Just gave you a reason to buy them. And of course, if you are cooking on the circuit, especially in the summertime, look, you have a live fire going on in your cooker, right? That's generating heat. On top of that, as he said, some of these things are on blacktop, what have you. Why not give yourself a chance to really beat that heat, as the corny phrase sounds? And you can do that with a Portacool unit, portacool.com. If you have one, send me an email. Let me know if you're thinking about getting, or if you end up getting one. And I would love to get some feedback. I tried to see if they had a dealer around here, and of course, they said, well, you live in Cleveland.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Go jump on the lake that catches on fire. I'm going to bring a Portacool unit down to the Cuyahoga River that catches on fire. I'm going to light the river on fire, and I'm going to be cool with my Portacool unit. It's going to be great. All right, quickly, let me tell you about Stephen DeFranco from Stephen DeFranco's Jewelers. Just in a couple days, you have this St. Patrick's Day. Everybody down for St. Patrick's Day? I don't understand it myself. Not Irish. Maybe you missed the boat on Valentine's Day. You've been in the doghouse ever since. Look, here's an easy way to recapture the flame. And by recapture the flame, I mean get yourself back in bed with your husband or your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, maybe your same-sex lover, whatever the case may be. Go to the website first and foremost, Stephen DeFranco, StephenDeFranco.com. Check out the full inventory that he has out there on his website. Watches, many different kinds to choose from, many different price ranges. The earrings, the diamond rings, bracelets, anklets, Venetian glass jewelry, artisanal bowls. No, not the ones you rip bong hits from Centralites. Really like nice crafted wooden bowls. Once you find it, call in directly, 440-943-2700. 440-943-2700, and ask for Steve specifically. Steve owns the place. He's ready to give you a deal. Mention the fact that you hear the live reads every Tuesday, that you're a barbecue brother, that you think I am some kind of crazy maniac, whatever you want to do, so he knows you know the show. And then watch the hookup take place. Dollars fall off. You're going to be saving money hand over fist. Look, if you don't need to save money, don't mention my name. I'm good with that. But if you're like me, like to save some money, say you know somebody in this kind of an industry, because who has like countless people that they know in the jewelry business? Not me. That's why I use Steve. On top of all that, it ships for free. He's going to counsel you properly. He can make jewelry for you. Maybe you have a loose diamond, you want to put it in a special setting. He can take care of all of that for you. StephenDeFranco.com, DIFRANCO. StephenDeFranco.com, or call him. Once you find out what you like, or if you have questions, he'll help you. 440-943-2700. He's the owner. It's not like you're talking to the floor manager like when you go buy a car from the Ford dealership or whatever. StephenDeFranco.com. All right, straight away, Dan Hickson giving away the Three Eyes Barbecue. So get your fat fingers ready for that one. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Time on the show when we give stuff away for no money. That's why it's free of charge. You can win stuff and I'll give it away for free.
All right, once again, you're getting a shaker and then a 1 pound bag of the Three Eyes Rub, championship and award winning, I might add. You send me an email, and in the subject line it says Port a Cool. Okay. In the subject line, Port a Cool semicolon. Port a Cool semicolon Frosty. Port a Cool semicolon Frosty for your chance to win a Three Eyes barbecue pack, a shaker, and 1 pound of Three Eyes barbecue rub. Good luck.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Thanks to Rick Kelly from Portacool joining me last segment. Again, that website, portacool.com, Portacool, just like it sounds, portacool.com. Let's see if we got any winners here. Nope. Not yet. We'll get a winner here in just a second. All right. Helping me close the show, a monthly contributor to the show, although I think I screwed him last month, so we're going to make up for it now. A bona fide chili expert, a sauce and rub reviewer extraordinaire, and the official sauce and rub reviewer here of the Barbecue Central Show. We race over the hotline and grab Scott Roberts from ScottRobertsWeb.com. Scott, how are you, buddy?
Oh, fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Scott. Always appreciate the time that you give for joining the show as we talk about rubs and sauces and all that stuff. But of course, as always, before we get into the rub and sauce of the subject, what's happening over ScottRobertsWeb.com, news of the fiery food world, and of course the weekly Firecast. What's happening over there?
Continuing the weekly Firecast, which is currently the only podcast focusing on fiery foods and hot sauce right now. Everyone could take a listen and subscribe over at weeklyfirecast.com or just go to my website, ScottRobertsWeb.com. Something I'm going to hopefully start up this coming week is the Ultimate Hot Sauce Showdown, where I'm going to present many, many dozens of hot sauces nominated by readers of my blog. And I'm going to put them in a 64 bracket style system, not unlike March Madness, where I will have little wars and we will whittle everything down and see what is everyone's favorite hot sauce of all time.
Do you have any perennial favorites?
This is actually the first year that I'm going to be doing anything like this. As a matter of fact, the only thing I've ever seen anybody do something like this was the Huffington Post. Of course, they only picked like the big names, the Tabascos, the Srirachas, and all that. I wanted to get some of the really quality sauces included this time. Favorites, it's up for grabs right now. I imagine the individual sauce manufacturers are going to bring their fans and say, "Hey, go vote for this." Mine is doing battle next week, and it's all going to be put up to a vote by everyone. So we will see.
All right, so stay tuned for that. ScottRobertsWeb.com is his website if you want to kind of keep up with Scott and see what's happening in the world of fiery foods, and you can subscribe to that podcast as well. All right, Scott, so let's go ahead and get into the first item that you'll be reviewing tonight, and it's called Millie's Sweet and Spicy Barbecue Sauce. What can you tell us about it?
This is an extremely sweet, almost sickeningly sweet just imagine taking a Sweet Baby Ray's, which, by the way, I love, and just dumping about 2 gallons of sugar into it. But you know what? For what it is, it's not too terribly bad. If you happen to like that really sweet corn syrupy type taste to your barbecue sauce, and I mean, it does have kind of a strong tomato flavor, some other things brought into the mix, but it's definitely sweet. Now, of course, I kind of like my barbecue sauce a little bit of everything, a little spicy, a little savory, a little smoky. So when I used this, I had to use this very sparingly. But when I did, it didn't do too bad of a job. Especially when things were like caramelizing on the grill. It really it kind of tweaked the flavor profile a bit to where those sugars, obviously everyone knows that sugars will burn a little bit. Yeah. And to me, it made it palatable enough for my regular taste to, for me to really enjoy it.
All right. So I always shudder to give out website addresses when we have kind of a one-sided review. But where can people get it? The amount that they're getting in the jar and price point.
Okay, everyone can get this at Millie'sBarbecueSauce.com, and that's the word barbecue spelled out with QUE. And you can get this in an 18-ounce jar, and it runs you for $6 plus shipping. You know what? Just to kind of be fair, be nice, I will go ahead and give this a backyard griller rating, 3 out of 5. If you happen to love that extremely sweet flavor with a barbecue sauce, if you don't use too much of it, you might like this.
All right, so 3 out of 5, not the worst. Not something that we're telling you to run out and buy unabashedly, but if you run across it or you want to go to that website again, that's Millie'sBarbecueSauce.com. $6, 18 ounces for really a sweet barbecue sauce is what it boils down to, right, Scott?
Extremely sweet.
All right, next one up is the Chesterville Pepper Company Honey Chipotle barbecue sauce. And if I can make a observation, with all of these sauces that you do, I mean, we've been doing this for like well over a year now, maybe going on 2 years. There has been kind of a reoccurring theme of this Chipotle, I don't know if it's like a seasoning or a flavoring in a lot of these barbecue sauces. Is that something that I am making up, or do you see that as well?
I see a lot of it. Obviously, adding chili peppers to a barbecue sauce, to me, it's one of the primal ingredients that you could use. And since a lot of people like smoky flavors with their meat, with their barbecue, I mean, I prefer to get the core smoke flavor from the wood smoke. But if you can add some type of a smoky component to the sauce or seasoning, that's good too, as long as it's not, that nasty artificial liquid smoke. And I know you agree with me on that.
That's right.
But as far as a big, huge trend where everybody's rushing to this, I don't think so. It's just another type of barbecue sauce where a lot of people will tend to use the Chipotles for just a little bit of spiciness to it and adding that smoky flavor too.
All right. So where can you get it, price point, and how much are you getting it?
Okay. Well, this sauce is actually more my speed.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of sweetness, but it has such a great chipotle flavor without it being overly smoky and overly peppery, very well balanced. The texture of it is very odd, and it's runny and kind of clumpy at the same time. It actually reminded me of the couple of times I tried to create my own homemade hot sauce. It failed. The texture was just absolutely ridiculous. But, in this case, I will overlook it because the taste is so damn good. I love this stuff. You could buy this at thechestervillepeppercompany.com. Get a 16-ounce jar for $5 plus shipping. Pretty good deal. And my rating for this would be a top 10 call.
Really? A top 10 call? All right.
Very, very good product.
So we're stepping up away from the overly sweet, milly sweet and spicy barbecue sauce, and we're getting a top 10 call here. Again, so, I mean, in $5 for 16 ounces isn't really that bad of a cost-price ratio, right?
It is not. No, especially if you like the product. Yeah. And I, in this case.
All right. And again, you can find that at the ChestervillePepperCompany.com. Do you know if it's available for sale like in brick-and-mortar places or just mostly online?
Probably mostly online. It might be available in a few places. They are based in Indiana, so it might be in Indiana, maybe Ohio. I had actually found this at the North Market in Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. There was a Fiery Foods Festival a few weeks ago, so I got a jar of this, or I should say a bottle of this. And it turned out to be really good stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. Did you say you were in Columbus, Ohio?
I did, yes.
Oh, thanks for the call. It's only an hour and 45 minutes away. Appreciate that.
There was a blizzard going on at the time. I would have headed up and said hi to you. But...
No, I'm saying I would have come down to Columbus and said, hi, Scott. Come on. I wouldn't make you drive up to see me. Who am I?
You're only the Johnny Carson of the barbecue world.
Oh, thanks. I guess these days I should be hoping I'm the Jimmy Fallon of the barbecue world. He's doing very well for himself. The last item that we have tonight, Smoking Jay's Fiery, Fatale?
Fatale, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Smoking Jay's Fiery Fatale barbecue sauce. What can you tell us about it?
Okay. There is no indication in the title of this as to really what the flavor profile is, and this is a strong mustard barbecue sauce. I'm not a huge fan of mustardy barbecue sauces or having a big mustardy push on my tongue when it comes to your typical barbecue meats. This, on the other hand, does a pretty good job of integrating it. And when it comes to mustards, you know, I will like my regular prepared mustard, you know, the French's and things like that, on hot dogs, smoked sausage, and that. Mm-hmm. Once you start getting into your gourmet mustards, it must be two things. One, it must be very sweet, and it must be very spicy. And as a general mustard, and not a barbecue sauce, this is something I fell in love with. And it does an admirable job on barbecue, but I found this to be just like a good sandwich topper, like on a turkey sandwich. It does a very, very good job. Now, if people are unfamiliar with the Fatale peppers out there, mm-hmm. they're just slightly below habaneros as far as the heat level goes. I mean, everybody pays attention to ghost peppers, Trinidad scorpions. Everyone knows habaneros. Fatales have a very immediate heat and a very, very hot heat. And this is one very, very spicy barbecue sauce. So if you're wanting maybe like an all-purpose mustard that kind of does double duty as a barbecue sauce, and something with an extraordinary kick, this will fit the bill.
How quickly does the heat come off the tongue, though? If you have an immediate heat, is it something short-lived, or is it going to sit there and burn on, as it were?
I found in the case of this, it's probably for maybe a moderate amount of time. But the thing is, if you keep consuming this, for instance, if you have a whole sandwich with this barbecue sauce on there, as soon as the heat kind of tapers off a little bit, you know, once you take your next bite, boom, it's back up there again. It's not something that will linger for 20 minutes. It's not going to kill you unless you cannot take any spiciness at all. There are some people out there. But if you do love a little bit of spiciness, you will definitely find this to be hot. And the heat is tolerable, but it was still kind of kicky in the tongue.
All right. So what did you think overall? And, of course, where can you buy it, how much you getting, and how much you pay?
This also, I would give a top 10 call.
Wow. All right.
Maybe not as an overall barbecue product, but just an overall food product. You know, if you're thinking, you know, ham sandwiches, turkey sandwiches, whatever that you... However you use a general spicy mustard, this will, you know, fit that role pretty good. You can find this at SmokingJaysFieryFoods.com and get a 16-ounce bottle for $4.99 plus shipping.
All right, so, you know, you're roughly, well, that's the lowest cost, about the same as the Chesterville Pepper Company. That one was $5, it's $4.99. Same amount, 16 ounces, like Chesterville Pepper Company. So, your quality price ratio probably fitting the bill just as good as the other one.
I would say so, yeah.
All right, so we have two reasonably good ones. Smokin' Jay's Fiery Fatale Barbecue Sauce, top 10 call. Likewise with Chesterville Pepper Company, Honey Chipotle Barbecue Sauce, also getting a top 10 call. And then was it a Backyard Griller, Millie's Sweet and Spicy Barbecue Sauce?
Backyard Griller, that's being really, really lenient, really, really nice. It almost hit the oven baker.
All right, so teetering on the oven baker, but Scott feeling especially forgiving tonight for some reason. So Millie should take it and run with it. We're listening and talking with Scott Roberts from ScottRobertsWeb.com, the official taster and reviewer of the Barbecue Central show. Scott, always appreciate the time, and we'll do it again next month, buddy.
Thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate it.
You got it. There he is. My man, Scott Roberts. Look, I don't care if it's good. I mean, I care if it's good, right? But, man, do I hate nothing more than buying a sauce or a rub and it sucks. No. I hate that. That is a huge waste of money, right? Absolutely. By the way, the person that won Dan Hickson's Three Eyes Barbecue Rub and the Shaker, whoever is the Fisher woman. There was no name. I mean, I know I say a rule of the show, no names, please. But if you know the Fisher woman at Comcast, whoever that is, please email me back, your name and your shipping info, and I will forward that to Dan Hickson and the folks over at Three Eyes Barbecue. They will give you a shaker. They will give you 1 pound of Three Eyes Barbecue Rub. It's championship. It's award-winning. So congratulations to the Fisher woman. Email in from Diane Me. You are the leader of the barbecue family. Because of you, I have a family of brothers and sisters which extends from coast to coast. I can't say that about any pre-recorded podcast that can accomplish that. Thank you, Diane. Thank you for listening. Don Hopkins weighing in. Good for you, Greg. I listen to the show in many different ways, but I look forward to the live show every week. The chat room folks gathering and the great talk that goes on there. I appreciate the fact that you love the live show. If you're keeping status, put me down as like it live. Let me be clear. I do the live show because I like the live show, first and foremost. And so it will continue. We talk about it week after week. You look on the news, somebody's getting screwed on the internet, somebody's identity has been stolen, somebody ordered something and never got it. God, I hate that. That's why when we're talking about ordering barbecue and grilling things for your arsenal, rubs, sauces, cookers, whatever, deal with a gang over at Tasty Licks Bernardo. Forget about that internet grip. Forget about thinking you're going to get hosed. Tasty Licks has one of the most complete inventories of barbecue and grilling items anywhere on the face of the earth. All the items that you see on Fred's website are in stock. They are ready to ship to you directly. Tasty Licks carries grills, smokers, ceramic cookers, electric cookers, various charcoal types, wood chunks, chips, cookbooks, accessories. If they don't have it, you don't need it. On top of all that, Fred carries many of the other show sponsors in his store as well, so you're almost doing this 2 for 1. Shopping at a sponsor, buying sponsors' products, best of both worlds. Also, Tasty Licks has their own line of rubs and sauces that do very well, both in the retail market and on the competition trail. Be sure to try those. And this coming weekend, he will be hosting the competition cooking class from one Harry Sue, ladies and gentlemen. Looking forward to a review on that from many people that are attending. Tasty Licks Barbecue, the place I go to get all of my barbecue supplies. You should too. Trusted online retailer, proud sponsor of the Barbecue Central show. Let Fred know that you listen to the show and you hear spots live every Tuesday. TastyLicksBBQ.com. That's TastyLicksBBQ.com. Straight away out of the break, we're going to give away a 2-pound bag of the West Texas Pitmasters Rib Rub. And then we'll wrap it up after that. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Now's the time on the show where we give stuff away, yeah. It's free and you don't have to pay a thing. That's why it's free, yeah.
All right, as promised, the Lance Moore from WestTexasPitmasters.com, WestTexasPitmasters.com, giving away a 2-pound bag of their Pitmasters Rib Rub. You freaking kidding me? 2-pound bag. Awesome. All you have to do is send me an email, and in the subject line, hot peppers make hot poop. Yeah, I said it. Hot peppers make hot poop. For your chance to win a 2-pound bag of the WestTexasPitmasters.com Pitmasters Rib Rub. Thanks to Lance Moore for that. You can win it. Hot peppers make hot poop. Good luck.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we're back. We do have a winner for the 3-Eye stuff. Wendy Paquette. Congratulations to you, Wendy. And we'll wait for a winner on the WestTexasPitmasters.com 2-pound bag of Pitmasters Rib Rub. Ooh, here they come now. And the winner of the West Texas Pitmasters is Blake Moody. I just had like 50 of them come in, one right after the other. Wow. Nice. Blake Moody wins because he put hot peppers make hot poop quicker than anybody. Yeah, that's weird. Whatever. All right. Let's wrap it up. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Mike McLeod from MMA Creative. He's the president and CEO over there. We talked about KCBS and what they're looking to do. Big things in store to potentially be announced next week. Also talked about the World Food Championships. That'll be October 31st, starting, culminating in front of Caesars Palace November 3rd. We also talked to Rick Kelly from Portacool. P-O-R-T, portacool.com, evaporative coolers. A way to beat the heat on the competition trail or in the backyard if you like to throw parties like me, whatever. Portacool.com. Thanks to Rick Kelly for talking to us about that. And, of course, coming out of the bullpen to close the show tonight, Scott Roberts from scottrobertsweb.com. Raw cast iron treated each and every time. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday, where we see you back here. This is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.